Yes, the 80s, the iconic 80s. St. Elmo's Fire was one of those iconic movies of the 80s, and Andrew McCarthy was one of those iconic actors of the 80s. He's now 54 years old, and he's writing books, and he joins us now. Good morning, Andrew McCarthy. Welcome to St. Louis.
Good morning, thanks.
All right, so you are now a writer. You're 54 years old, and your new book is called Just Fly Away, and I was reading about it. I was reading about it in the New York Times. That reviewed it, so that's a great feather in your cap. And it's a story from the perspective of a 13-year-old girl written by a 54-year-old man?
Well, actually, it's a 15-year-old girl, so it's okay.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, it's about a 15-year-old girl who discovers she has a brother living across town that she never knew about. There was a result of an affair her father had. And so it's about family secrets and sort of getting to the bottom of them. Yeah. I mean, in all fairness to me, I was trying to write a book about a guy who had a child out of wedlock and didn't tell his family, and I just couldn't make it work. So once I switched to the point of view of the girl, it all started to happen.
That's really interesting. So it was able to work with you thinking about it as a girl.
Yeah, and as a teenage girl, yeah. But I mean, I think it's all those feelings that we all have, or had, and still do, I guess, of sort of feeling like this is the most important thing in the world that's ever happened, and nobody is feeling it as much as I am, and I'm all alone in the world, I'm unappreciated, and what am I going to do about it? You know, so she just goes looking for answers.
Now, you say that you weren't very popular with the girls back in high school?
I was not. No, I was a very sort of late bloomer, as it were, and I was very small and skinny kid, and no, I was not too popular. I only became popular with the girls once I started getting into movies.
Mm-hmm. How old were you when you finally hit it in the movies?
I was 19 when I did my first movie, Class.
What was your first movie?
It was called Class, yeah, with Jacqueline Bisset. I played Jacqueline Bisset's young lover, and Rob Lowe was in it as well.
Yeah. So, writing something you always like to do?
Well, I mean, in my other life, I'm a travel writer. I've been travel writing for about 15 years, and I've worked for National Geographic Traveler and things, and it just sort of evolved in my life, and then the idea for this novel came out.
We should say that your best-selling travel novel was The Longest Way Home. This one, Just Fly Away, just out now. So is this, you have children. Did your children approve of this book? I mean, did you run it past them to make sure you were getting the right perspective from the 15-year-old girl with the language of today and everything?
Well, my kids haven't read it. I asked my son is 15 now, and I said, Sam, are you going to read it? And he goes, yeah, I'll wait for the audiobook, Dad. So, but I did give it to my 15-year-old neighbor, a girl, and I asked her to read it. She was my first reader. I asked her to read it first, and she said, yeah, it sounds like me and my friends. So I felt okay once she told me that. Before that, I didn't know what the hell I had. I'm like, what do I know about a 15-year-old girl? But it just, yeah, she said she gave me the blessing, so it was okay.
Yeah.
What made you get into travel writing?
Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things. Travel changed my life. I did a lot of traveling, and people weren't. And I read about a lot of travel, and it wasn't capturing what I was experiencing, which is this sort of life-altering experience. I don't write reviews and things like that. I write much more first-person experiential narratives about travel, and it's just something that I love. It was like acting, really. It's when I was young, I fell in love with acting. It changed my life. And I had the same feeling when I started travel writing and then doing this novel. And I do a lot of television directing as well. I directed like the shows Orange is the New Black and Blacklist and things. And it's the same feeling of just like, it's just what I like to do. And so I've just found a way to make a living sort of at various things that I like to do.
The book is called Just Fly Away. Is it true, did I read where your son is going to play the son of Molly Ringwald?
It's true. I hate to say it, my children are becoming actors against all my best advice. And, yeah, he was cast in his first movie, and he came home and said, Dad, my mom in the movie is going to be Molly Ringwald. And I'm like, oh, my God, my world is getting smaller and smaller.
It's a great story.
I love that.
Do you have, give us your favorite movie you were in from the 80s. Do you have a favorite?
I suppose, I hate to say it, I have great affection for Bernie. Weekend at Bernie's is very funny.
What we were saying earlier is that it's amazing how many cultural references still reference Weekend at Bernie's.
I know. Bernie just won't die. He just won't stay dead.
Did you do 2 or 3 of them?
No, we did 2. I think 1 was enough, but we did 2.
We did too. All right, outside of Weekend at Bernie's, because that's in a class by itself.
It certainly is.
When you look back and you're flipping channels on a Saturday afternoon, and have you come across any of the old '80s movies?
Oh my God! There's the Pretty in Pink channel that must be on every day. But I certainly never watch them, but I know they're on all the time. I have great affection for those movies. They really captured something for a generation of people.
And you'll always be a Brat Packer, a member.
Always will be.
Oh. You know what? You probably get a lot of grief going to the produce section of the supermarket. But you know what? I mean, that time you were as big was. I mean, right? That was a heck of a run for you for a while.
Well, those movies, it's interesting. People come up. You can tell which movie they're going to approach you about by just simply, you can profile people. There's, the guys, there's the truck driver types that love Weekend at Bernie's. There's the sensitive women that love Pretty in Pink, and then there's the sort of shady, druggy type people that like Less Than Zero. You can see them coming.
Andrew McCarthy, the book is called Just Fly Away. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for having fun. Good luck with the book.
Thanks.
You got it. The book is called Just Fly Away, a young adult debut novel for Andrew McCarthy. Plus the other one, the best-selling travel memoir, New York Times bestseller, The Longest Way Home, Andrew McCarthy.
I love that he writes, he directs, he does all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I love that his favorite movie was Weekend at Bernie's.